The trajectory of the 1992 Dream Team stands as a milestone not just in the history of the NBA, but in the worldwide game of basketball. That U.S. Olympic squad, which included legendary names like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird, forever changed how the sport would be watched and played across the globe. Even now, more than 30 years later, invoking the Dream Team calls to mind a magical moment when perhaps the greatest concentration of basketball talent ever was brought together on a single roster. Below, we'll delve into the behind-the-scenes story of that era, exploring how the idea of sending NBA professionals to the Olympics arose, who were the key figures, and the lasting impact they left on the sport. It all began with the United States' frustration in the mid-1980s. For many years, FIBA, the International Basketball Federation, prohibited professional athletes from taking part in international competitions, especially the Olympics. As a result, the U.S. typically competed with college, or at best semi-pro players. Even though the Americans remained formidable, the gap with other nations was shrinking. At the 1988 Games in Seoul, Team USA only managed to win a bronze medal after losing to the Soviet Union, a result that many back home deemed nearly unthinkable for the self-described cradle of modern basketball. In the late 1980s, FIBA reversed its stance and allowed professional players in international tournaments, including the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona. This gave USA Basketball the green light for its ambitious plan, assembling a national team of NBA superstars, the likes of which no one had ever seen. Partly, the motivation was to reclaim global basketball supremacy and avoid another humiliating defeat. But there was also the hugely enticing prospect of seeing Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and other legends all on one team, not just for fans, but for sponsors and the league itself, which envisioned an unprecedented global expansion. Selecting the roster became something almost mythical. Those in charge, among them head coach Chuck Daly, who had won 2 NBA titles with the Detroit Pistons, drafted a wish list of the top names in the league, consulting with the players themselves and team executives. One by one, the invitations were accepted. The first to sign on was Magic Johnson, who had retired early after being diagnosed with HIV in 1991. Magic viewed the '92 Olympics as a chance to finish his career on a high note and prove he was still able to compete. Michael Jordan, a 2-time NBA champion at the time and at the height of his popularity, initially hesitated, worried it might be too much exposure, perhaps even too easy, but ultimately agreed, recognizing the historic impact and how it would add to his legacy. Larry Bird, plagued by chronic back issues, was no longer in peak shape, but still commanded huge respect as a living Boston Celtics legend. Despite his injuries, he was convinced that joining this team would be an honor and a fitting swan song for his career. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Clyde Drexler, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Chris Mullin, and Scottie Pippen rounded out the elite group. One pick stood out from the NBA superstar pattern: Christian Laettner, a college star who took the slot reserved for an amateur. Other college talents like Shaquille O'Neal were also under consideration, but Laettner, already an NCAA champion and standout at Duke, was chosen, ensuring a blend of veteran stars and a single rookie talent. Once the roster was set, media and public frenzy around the Dream Team began even before they arrived in Barcelona. There were warm-up exhibitions, including a legendary scrimmage where Chuck Daly, a coach managing a lineup of colossal egos, encouraged internal showdowns said to be as intense as the NBA Finals. Michael Jordan versus Magic Johnson, Barkley versus Malone, Pippen versus Drexler, and so on. Legend has it these closed-door sessions were so electrifying that, if televised, they would have drawn record audiences. Chuck Daly noted the natural rivalry between Jordan and Magic, 2 charismatic leaders representing different NBA generations. Bird, often acting as a mentor, due to his ailing back, earned enormous respect with his still fearsome shooting accuracy. Many refer to these Dream Team scrimmages as the greatest games never seen. A spirit of fun and healthy competition pervaded. The team traveled together, stayed at the same hotel, and arrived at the Olympic Village, though special adjustments were made, given how these NBA megastars attracted enormous attention. When they finally stepped foot in Barcelona, the entire world wanted a glimpse of the Dream Team. Opposing squads, theoretically contending for the same gold medal, often walked onto the court simply hoping to keep the margin under 40 points. Some of their opponents asked for autographs before tip-off. It was an unprecedented phenomenon, rivals more eager to stand on the same floor as their idols than to focus on beating them. On the court, the spectacle didn't disappoint. The Dream Team racked up lopsided wins, regularly posting over 100 points while crushing opponents. They trounced Angola 116-48 in one of their early matchups. Even Spain, playing at home, succumbed to their relentless game. Charles Barkley became the team's leading scorer, surprisingly outpacing Jordan, thanks to his powerful, unorthodox style of play that international opponents simply weren't used to. Magic Johnson, while not in his prime, dished out assists and led the offense when on the floor. Jordan thrilled fans with high-flying dunks and brilliant plays that affirmed his status as the global face of basketball. Larry Bird, even though pacing himself to protect his back, still sparkled with his trademark precision shooting. Every game was a showcase, and fans in the stands had never seen so much combined skill from one group. The peak came in the gold medal game against a Croatian team featuring Dražen Petrović and Toni Kukoc. Croatia had earned their place with clever, skillful play, but it was no match for the Dream Team. Some speculated Toni Kukoc, destined to join the Chicago Bulls in the near future, could make a statement, but in the end, he was simply another casualty of the Americans' dominance. The Dream Team claimed the Olympic gold in emphatic style, winning 117-85. Not only did they restore American basketball's supreme status, but they ignited an unprecedented global surge in popularity for the NBA. The image of Magic, Jordan, Bird, Barkley, Malone, Robinson, and others wrapped in the American flag, smiling and embracing on the podium, became iconic. Their legacy, though, went far beyond winning the gold. International reaction was overwhelming. In Barcelona, the arena was packed for every Dream Team game. Athletes from other sports, tennis, swimming, gymnastics, would try to sneak in or find a way to watch them play. After that, the NBA attracted millions of new fans overseas. Young players in Europe, Asia, and Latin America started following the Chicago Bulls, Los Angeles Lakers, and Boston Celtics, enchanted by the stars who'd shone in Spain. Some of those young fans later evolved into major NBA talents themselves: Dirk Nowitzki, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Pau Gasol, to name a few, and they all pointed to the 1992 Dream Team as a key inspiration. Using superstar power to promote the game worked so well that in the following years, the NBA launched global marketing initiatives, taking preseason matchups to other continents, signing broadcast deals, and setting up offices in key cities like London and Shanghai. Without question, the Dream Team was the catalyst for the league's push toward international popularity. Before '92, the NBA had few slots for foreign players. After that, curiosity surged, and scouts and executives began investing more effort in finding talent abroad. International basketball quality shot up, learning and emulating parts of the Dream Team's approach to the game. Of course, that absolute dominance wouldn't last forever. Later American Olympic squads stocked with NBA players would keep winning medals, but no longer commanded the same universal awe. In 2004, for instance, the U.S. fell to Argentina in the semifinals and settled for bronze, another wake-up call that the global level of competition had advanced significantly. Yet the original Dream Team remained untarnished, both in terms of results, nobody came close to beating them in '92, and in terms of mystique. Even the very term Dream Team turned into a widespread reference for star-studded lineups in many sports. The importance of that squad transcends basketball. In the broader Olympic landscape, watching millionaire superstars with established careers represent their country and interact with each other, Jordan smiling alongside Magic, Barkley joking with rival Karl Malone, produced scenes that helped shape sports culture in the early 1990s. This was the era of expanded cable TV, MTV, the global celebrity of Michael Jordan, and the rise of Nike ad campaign. The Dream Team was a critical piece of that sports/pop culture tapestry. Their presence reinforced how the U.S. was both a sports and marketing powerhouse. In the stands, flags of many nations flew, but the greatest excitement focused on the Dream Team. Everyone wanted photos, autographs, collectibles, and official jersey. It became a media event on a scale never before seen in basketball. Naturally, there were a few detractors at the time. Some basketball purists felt that stacking the Dream Team against other countries was unfair and undermined the Olympic spirit of potential upsets, like what had happened in 1988. Others complained that the massive score differences turned matches into exhibitions. Still, the commercial success and worldwide prestige overshadowed these criticisms, and most people welcomed the presence of elite athletes in the Olympics, seeing it as a boost to the level of play. Though all recognized the Dream Team's greatness, each member left with a personal storyline. For Magic Johnson, it was a kind of victory lap, after retiring due to HIV and returning for this monumental occasion. For Larry Bird, also near the end of his career with back problems, it was a noble final act. Michael Jordan, just 2 titles in at that point, would go on to capture more championships with the Bulls, cementing his status as the greatest of all time. Scottie Pippen, once viewed only as Jordan's sidekick, gained even greater international recognition. Charles Barkley, who ended up as the team's top scorer, and Karl Malone showcased their unstoppable physicality, while David Robinson and Patrick Ewing solidified their reputations as premier centers, and John Stockton demonstrated his keen basketball IQ could thrive on any stage. Recalling the '92 Dream Team today is to revisit a moment when the NBA had yet to truly globalize, when it was incredibly rare to see so many superstars united. Those Olympics unlocked doors for future generations and, more importantly, inspired young people across the globe. Basketball came to be regarded as a high-level must-see sport, a show that combined artistry, skill, and fierce competition. In terms of legacy, this was perhaps the most significant step in ushering in the modern era of the game, which now moves billions of dollars and features top international players on virtually every NBA team. The Dream Team era of 1992 isn't just about dominating a single tournament. It's about how, in a short span, one historic roster reshaped the image of basketball, turned it into a universal language, and influenced the sports culture of an entire generation, such that decades later, we still talk about this group in awe. After all, it's not every day you see Magic, Jordan, Bird, Barkley, Malone, and so many other luminaries playing together, dishing passes, and throwing down dunks side by side. It sounds like a fictional team, except it really happened before our eyes and the eyes of the whole world. Thus, when we speak of the 1992 Dream Team era, we're referring to a brief moment with massive impact. That squad not only reclaimed Olympic basketball supremacy for the U.S., but also sowed the seeds for the sport's development around the world, skyrocketed the NBA's global popularity, and immortalized some of basketball's greatest names on one roster. The Dream Team became the ultimate reference for collective perfection, a literal and figurative dream that remains etched into the memory of anyone who loves the sport or who simply appreciates the most sublime form of athletic achievement.